In Leo, come to me.
Live and
Man,
direct, as some might say.
I gotta log in. I must have like cleared cache, or you guys must have done an update.
Yeah, if you we did do an update, so if you haven't logged in recently, that would be why.
I think I logged in yesterday morning or something. Actually, yeah, because I had made a comment on one of Simple Games threads. It was funny. It was basically the gist of it was his investment or whatever, his crypto investment strategy is more Leo and no Hive. Pretty funny.
Yeah,
All right.
well, I mean, on that point, and obviously it always gets us in trouble when we talk
I was gonna
about
say I'm
Hive.
not trying to start off the Christmas
Yeah, I mean,
special
it's
with
it's like
hate.
talking politics because you always, 50% of people love you and 50% of people hate you. Without the politics of it, there was a major announcement today that uh, one of one of the oldest and relatively largest Hive projects just closed its doors
Oh wow, I did not
today.
know that. I'm completely out of the loop with all of that. I mean, heck, I'm gonna be honest. I am not as tapped in even on what's going on in Leo half the time of late, just because of all my real estate stuff keeping me busy. Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. So, I mean, it makes sense though. I mean, that's the overall environment of that blockchain. So I'm not surprised that you're seeing. It's like the U.S. It's like the same as it's kind of like the U.S. economy, right? How many articles you see about stuff that's been around for 50, 70 years, like shutting their doors,
right.
and
Yeah,
obviously it's a combination of changing of the times in terms of society, and because there's certain business models that don't work anymore, but it's also just you know the change of what is actually going on, and it's like you know the people that generally spend most consistently at these like franchises that are closing are the people that have been getting crunched the worst in our economy since COVID, because of inflation and because of the fact that they didn't benefit from the surge in assets, because these are people that are your everyday workers that don't own a bunch of stocks and don't own real estate and don't own gold. Like, they don't own anything that went up over the last 5 years, right? All they saw was their value of their dollar shrink and their groceries, basically double in price. And therefore leads to what? They can't buy as much. And that impacts what? A lot of these national brands that have been around for decades, hell, almost century, that are shuttering their doors. So,
yeah,
cause and effect always. People,
right.
people don't want to see it in the present, but it's going to happen. And, it's just the fact that it takes time, you know, it's like, what is that? It's like the frogs in a pot boiling. You know what I mean? Like, it's slowly, so they never jump out because it keeps just slowly keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter
Right.
instead of So it's wild. Human nature just on a whole. Every year I get older, becomes more interesting and entertaining to me, in terms of how like the world and society operates, and kind of just like the self-inflicted wounds that our society likes to give itself, simply for trying to always feel good in the present and sacrificing the future for that, which is the polar opposite of what you need to do to be successful. Anyone that's successful has sacrificed in the present, you know, so they could essentially plant those seeds and let them grow for the future. And this is why, if you think about it, China, art of war, right? That's why they're get to the point where they're starting to eat our lunch, because, they don't, like that culture, like they don't care. Like, you have generations that'll sacrifice to set up the next generations, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, think about in America, people doing that. Like, no one's trying to sacrifice 50 years, so the
No.
next generation can benefit. But
No,
anyway,
you have the 80-year-olds that are somehow still elected government, and they are sacrificing the next generation for their current election cycle.
which is crazy too, because you think like
Yeah,
at 80, like you wouldn't be worried about your greed anymore. It's like, I'm pretty sure you
right.
have enough money already, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, it
No,
is the
and
exact
again,
opposite
she ain't
mentality.
the only one. They're all basically all of them are crooked, but
Yeah,
she's one of the top three in terms of like, the financial side of just, being the best stock trader in history.
I just saw something the other day that charted Nancy Pelosi, the S&P 500, and Warren Buffett.
Oh, she
And I'll let you
destroys them.
guess which. Yeah, I'll let you guess which one
Yeah,
won in that race.
absolutely. One, it is a landslide. I saw that chart. She absolutely destroys them.
Yep,
I know. It makes me
it's
think, should
insane.
I just, I mean, granted, it's lag because it's off the quarterly 13F filing. So you're like, yeah, you're seeing what she's buying and selling, but you're not actually getting to do it the same day. But I
Right.
feel like it still doesn't even matter, which is why Quiver Quant like has a business. So, I look back and I'm like, man, should I have signed up for Quiver Quant 2 years ago and just literally followed like the trigger, so to speak, when it shares, what, Nancy Pelosi and other politicians have done. I'm like, it's probably dumb not to. Like, I don't know what the subscription is, but it's probably more than worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, the only way you're going to lose is if maybe the timing of when you buy and sell doesn't work out because you're not on the same timing as them. But that 90% of the time, like the stock's going to go up. It's just, so it's just a matter of how much of that piece you get based on when you get in and
Right.
out based on their
Right.
filing. So I feel like I'm just like this free money that I'm almost like not taking by not signing up for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, and to tie it into like crypto markets, I mean, it just feels like every market right now is being heavily manipulated. And obviously with the stock market and TradFi, it's so big. I don't think it's being, excuse me, manipulated in the same way, but it's it's being manipulated in other ways, in those little pockets, for example, with the politicians. But then in crypto, I feel like the entire market is being manipulated. Like you look at the price of Bitcoin, and it's someone was saying Q4 2025 has been the worst year or worst quarter for Bitcoin in the last 7 years. And I also saw something earlier today that I posted on X, that altcoins as a market whole are nearing they're like literally within spitting distance of their COVID lows. So it's like, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But then compare that to the stock market, which is ripping all time highs. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and I think a lot of people are trying to make sense of it. And the only thing that really seems likely, or at least the most obvious, is manipulation of some kind. Where I do think, like with perps, we've seen like this over leveraging of the system in a way that has never happened before, where even like your smallest retail investors are taking on massive leverage, like 100x, 200x leverage. And then they're able to play these liquidation games. And it just, it seems to me, I mean, I've started to track this pretty closely. There's a site called CoinGlass where you can track a lot of this. And it's basically like on these moves, like you get like a 10% move in Bitcoin, for example, up or down, and the crypto market says that these trackers say that over 150 million dollars is liquidated in either direction, and on some of these days you have like close to $500 million getting liquidated. So it just makes you wonder, like, if someone's able to move the market just even a little bit, and then clean up these liquidations, I mean, someone's profiting. Every time someone gets liquidated, there's someone else on the other side of that trade that's profiting, along with the centralized exchanges who are also profiting. So it's starting to look very coordinated to me, especially that October 10th event that happened.
Oh yeah, that was the most coordinated liquidation in history. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no
I
way that
mean,
happens.
some coins went down to literally like less than a penny. Even Hive, I think, went down to like 3 cents or
Yeah,
something.
and it went down there for the matter of minutes.
Right.
I mean,
And
I
it
was
seemed
like,
like
yeah,
the rug was pulled on essentially like on market maker liquidity, and then they were able to basically wipe out everyone's leverage positions. and then just clean back up and then leverage everything back up, and then they just keep rinsing and repeating that on a smaller scale every day.
Yeah. Yeah, the
So
exchanges crushed it on that, and obviously whoever else was, on that right side of that. But I mean,
right,
there's no way that you can have a move like that that wasn't somewhat coordinated, or at least
exactly.
someone with enough money or an entity with enough money pushed over the first domino to then kick off all the
Kick that.
algorithms. And that's the problem with AI and algorithmic trading, which has been around even before AI was a thing, is that once a trigger gets set off, it often starts a domino, and then all the algos start selling, or all the algos start buying. It's funny. I talked to my buddy Pete that has his day trading community. He's a veteran trader, and I was telling him, I'm like, bro, I don't want to say this because I feel like it's the worst statement ever, like running joke, from my trading days. But I was like, I almost want to start trading again because I feel like trading is easier than it's ever been. And he kind of laughed because he was just like, here's the thing, you're actually not wrong. He's like, and that's going to be the case until we get any kind of extended down move. He's like, but the volatility is juiced. He's like, stocks will literally, like, it's crazy. Dude, NVIDIA is more volatile than Bitcoin. It's
Yeah,
like, you see stocks, there's multiple instances this year where a stock was like $15 and then all of a sudden it was $180 3 weeks later. Like, that shit is not normal
I
in the
know.
stock market. So yeah, it's making me want to trade again, which sucks because I feel like it's a terrible idea. But it's like, I know people that are just fair weather traders that have been crushing it now for 2 years, and it's like, play it till it breaks, because anytime there's a down move, it's a hard crash and then it rallies every single time. Like, there's no extended down move. So all these strategies people are doing, like, I know people have launched like a covered call fund or whatever, and they're like, oh, and they're acting like it's guaranteed. I'm like, you're doing. I was like, you have a 1.5 year track record. I was just like, you don't even know what a bear market looks like. So yeah, it's wild. I saw a good question that now I lost because the thing was moving, because I figured we'd ask it because many minutes ago the AI android called Taskmaster was already getting antsy about, is this a Leo AMA? So let's jump into a Leo AMA question.
Yeah.
Dagger212 said, and it's a good question because we're coming into the new year. Although next Tuesday, I guess, could be the end of the year episode. I will be around next Tuesday. I don't know about you, Cal. So on the 30th.
The 30th, is that the 30th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good
Yeah,
for that.
so we can do an end of year wrap up.
All right. Sounds
But
good.
we'll do this one question in regards to that for now. Dagger asked, what do you think the 3 main revenue streams for In Leo will be come this next year?
Yeah, well, I would first start by you gotta take a step further back than that, and it's for Leo, right? Like Leo, and I actually made a end of year post about this a couple of years ago. But Leo is really the umbrella company for everything else. So In Leo is just one app under the umbrella, and really, what the question is what is the biggest source of income for Leo? And In Leo is basically one source for the broader kind of umbrella holdings that is the Leo token economy. And you can actually see it behind me with the signs, right? Like, you've got In Leo and you've got LeoDex. You have a lot of other things. So really, I look at Leo now as like kind of 5 core pillars, but it kind of keeps expanding. But really, you've got LeoDex, you've got LeoKit, you've got In Leo, you've got Rafiki, which is LeoAI, and then you've got now the community operated project, Leo Strategy. So you've got like these 5 kind of really big pillars, and then you can kind of create sub pillars from those. So in terms of what I think the biggest inflows will be for the Leo token economy, I think LeoKit is going to be the biggest one, and I think LeoDex will be the second biggest one, and then I think, if I had to guess, Rafiki is going to be the third largest. It would be close between Rafiki and Leo Strategy. I think over time Rafiki will climb the ranks. in terms of bringing in inflows. I think in the early stages, Rafiki's not going to bring in a whole lot of inflows. Like in the current state, Rafiki's actually free to use for everybody. But over time, Rafiki is going to have. Actually, this was in the blog post from the at Leo Finance account today. That Rafiki is going to operate on a freemium model. So like right now, you're getting all the features for free. Most of those features will still be available for free forever. But a lot of the advanced features that we're building right now, those are all going to be behind a paywall, and that paywall is premium. So if you're an InLeo premium user, you'll automatically have access to all of those things, and that will basically create more and more reasons to go premium on InLeo. And then also when Rafiki has a standalone app, if you're InLeo Premium, that will apply to the Rafiki standalone AI app.
So just to kind of interject, that's what's the one I'm looking for? Kind of like, seeing what's the vision of something, right? So because when you started, basically premium, right, there wasn't a lot that came with it, right? But as things continue to get built out, and more benefits to having premium exist, right? So those that already have it keep getting more benefits, and then those that don't, like, it makes it more attractive, and the value of it just keeps growing, which is great because I think that's going to make the demand, that much more enticing. When it comes to LeoKit, does everyone know exactly like what that all entails?
I've posted. I've started to post a lot more about it, and so it's interesting because there was some good questions on X. I think actually one was from Senor Coconut, who's pretty active on InLeo, who asked on X. Basically was just asking questions about LeoKit and like how he would use LeoKit. And so that I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. LeoKit is a B2B product. So look at LeoDex as the B2C. So if you want to do cross-chain swaps, LeoDex is where you go. If you're a retail trader, you go to LeoDex and you can put in any crypto to any crypto, and it has, we've been adding more and more DEX integrations, and LeoDex is now up to 107 DEXs. So you can trade on literally pretty much any major DEX at this point. You can trade on LeoDex. So you put in whatever crypto you have to whatever crypto you want to swap to, and it will look across 107 different DEXs, and then it will find you the best price, the fastest swap, and all the other options, and then you can choose which one you want. So if you want to route it through Chainflip, you can do that. If you want to route it through Uniswap, you can do that. If you want to route it through 1inch, you can do that. You want to route it through Thorchain, you can do that. Maya, you can do that. Near Intense. So, LeoDex is the B2C product, where when you want to do a swap, and let's say you're using MetaMask or something, you would go to LeoDex, you would connect MetaMask, and then you would do the swap. LeoKit is actually what runs LeoDex. It's the back end, right? So the question is, well, how do you get 107 DEXs integrated so that people can swap across 107 different swap routes? And what is operating that is called LeoKit. LeoKit is essentially an SDK, which stands for Software Development Kit. In normal terms, what that means is it's basically a set of requests, which are called APIs, and those requests are what get sent out to all the different DEXs in order to get the quote back on a swap. And then you as and then whatever the interface is that integrated LeoKit then shows those quotes to the user, and then the user decides which quote to go with, and then another request is sent out to then actually perform the swap on whatever was selected. You kind of think of it as like LeoKit is almost like the back end of something like, for example, like DoorDash or Uber Eats or like one of these, or like Uber itself. You basically like send out this request like, hey, I want a ride from point A to point B. Who's willing to do it? And then, all the drivers then come back and say, I'll do it for $25. I'll do it for $20. I'll do it for $18. Then Uber sends it back to the user's app and says, hey, this guy will do it for $18, or this guy has a nicer car, but we'll do it for $25. Then the user says, okay, well, I'd rather have a cheaper car and just the cheapest one. Book the one for $18. So LeoKit and LeoDex are very similar. The back end that's running that is called LeoKit, and the front end is LeoDex. What LeoKit is in terms of opening it up is allowing other apps, interfaces, and wallets to integrate our ability to pull quotes from 107 dexes and put it on their website. So, for example, let's say MetaMask wants to start offering cross-chain swaps on 107 different dexes. They can integrate LeoKit, and it's extremely simple to integrate, and I'll talk about that in a second. They can integrate LeoKit, and then LeoKit will actually serve all the quotes to MetaMask so that MetaMask can then serve it to their users, and then their users can actually do the swaps. So LeoDex literally does all of that in the background. And then for MetaMask, it's literally just this API that they add to their code base. And it's extremely simple. If you think of like a WordPress plugin or I'm trying to think of a good example. If you've ever like used like a code snippet of any kind, like that's what it's like. You just take like this little snippet of code, you embed it, and then once you've got it embedded, it literally gets connected to whatever your UI is and lets you have cross-chain swaps. We've built out docs for this that show people how to integrate. I was testing it with one of the integrators, and they were able to add it to their app in less than 60 minutes. So in literally under an hour, they were able to add to their existing app, they were able to add cross-chain swaps. And prior to that, they didn't have any cross-chain swaps. LeoKit is incredibly interesting for us because we've never actually built anything that's B2B. So this is the first thing that we're building that's not for like retail customers. It's for people like MetaMask. And we've been having a lot of meetings with apps that you would recognize, like very large apps who are who either don't currently have cross-chain swaps or they do have them, but they're not happy with the current solutions, which kind of ties into Sheeb's question, which is LeoKit like SwapKit or better? Is there any chance it can replace ThorSwap's SwapKit on some wallets like Trust Wallet? So, there are a handful of apps that have already, I've been on calls with them who are not happy with the current solution that they have, and they're looking for something better. So something that has better maintenance, better support, lower fees, more broad support. So, we support 107 dexes and these other solutions don't support that many. And LeoKit, in my opinion, is vastly superior to what's already out there. And really right now it's SwapKit, and then there's one called DKit. I think DKit is kind of somewhat irrelevant. Like I'm pretty sure they spun off and sold to another company or something. SwapKit would be the largest provider of this, kind of SDK-like service, and they're integrated into Trust Wallet, Ledger, and all these major wallets. And like I said, many of these wallets are not really happy with the current status quo, which tends to happen. I mean, if you have a market where there's no competition, you really just have one, kind of monopoly on it. It doesn't take much to disrupt, that complacency. So, when there's a competing, right now there's no competition. When we have a competing, essentially a competing API, and we're providing something better, that will actually be better for the end customer because now there's something that essentially pushes the whole thing forward. So, LeoKit is dramatically different in some ways. It gives you the same end result, but in my opinion, it gets you there faster, easier, and cheaper. So it's like it's like legacy technology versus new technology. In my opinion, it's like Yellow Pages versus the internet. Like LeoKit is modernized in a big way. What we've built for LeoKit is there's a whole dashboard app that goes along with LeoKit. So there's going to actually be a whole new app that you go to. And again, this is B2B. So like many of you guys, you're welcome to go to LeoKit and play around with it if you'd like. But it's definitely geared towards like clients. It's geared towards, again, like MetaMask, Ledger, Trust Wallet, and many of these other big wallets and interfaces and apps. So again, think of it more in that way. I like to relate it to being like AWS. So if you think of like Amazon Web Services, the average human being may not even know what Amazon Web Services is. But if they're using the internet, they're using Amazon Web Services. They just don't know it because most of the internet is running on a lot of these B2B services. So LeoKit will work in very much the same way, where all these different apps are going to need a way to connect to cross-chain and have cross-chain swaps. And LeoKit is what allows them to do that. And it allows them to do that with a simple API call. Super easy to integrate. Like I said, it takes like under an hour. And the other benefits that we have. So again, it's cheaper, lower fee, faster, easier to integrate. And then I think the other big benefit of LeoKit is that it's completely modular. So this is something that I started having calls with some of these big names that I just mentioned, and they were telling me what they're looking for in a SDK for cross-chain swaps. And I made sure that we built all of this into LeoKit. So one of the things that many of them are looking for is like full modularity. So like they want to be able to say, I want to support this asset, I don't want to support this asset, or I want to support this protocol and I don't want to support this protocol. They want to be able to pick and choose protocols and assets to support. And then there's a lot of other features out there where they'd like to support them or not support them, or add them in the future. And the way we built LeoKit was that if a integrator comes in, they can actually go to their dashboard and they can literally just tick on and off protocols and assets. So there's 20,000 assets, crypto assets that are supported in LeoKit right now. And integrators can literally just tick on or off if they want an asset or not, or they can just tick them all on if they want. And then LeoKit automatically adjusts through the API. So they actually, once they've integrated the API, then they can use the dashboard and just play around with all of this in real time. Integrators get to go to the dashboard. They create an API key. They can set their own fee. So LeoKit charges 10 basis points, which I think is someone's question here. Dagger212 said, how would this product generate revenue? Would it be like fees on LeoDex, or would it be a fee from LeoKit to the clients using it? So it's very similar to LeoDex's fee structure. So LeoDex charges 45 basis points. LeoKit charges 10 basis points, so it's much lower. LeoKit earns on every single swap. So let's say that someone like MetaMask or a big wallet comes in, and they integrate this. Every swap that happens on that app through, if LeoKit is integrated, LeoKit earns 10 basis points, and then the integrator gets to set whatever extra fee they want. So let's say that the integrator wants to have a total fee of 50 basis points. That means that LeoKit gets 10. That's like a non-negotiable minimum fee. So LeoKit gets 10 basis points, and then the integrator charges 40 basis points to the client, to the swapper. So now that wallet is getting 40 basis points, and LeoKit is earning the 10 basis points. The total fee to the user was 50. So it is it's extremely interesting because when you look at the business, like I think probably the best live example is ThorSwap and SwapKit. So they obviously started with ThorSwap, which is an app like LeoDex, just a web app, and then they created SwapKit, which was meant to be underneath ThorSwap, but they ended up spinning it out and changing the dynamic there. And SwapKit has actually far outpaced ThorSwap in terms of growth. So I think like 90% of the revenue for the SwapKit / ThorSwap team, because they're basically the same team, but the fees flow to two different places. But if you look at the aggregate, I think like over 90% of their inflows are actually coming from SwapKit and not ThorSwap. And ThorSwap has basically become like a demo of SwapKit. So LeoDex is actually very much the same model. LeoDex is essentially the demo of LeoKit. So when we want to tell a client, hey, what is, like when someone asks what is LeoKit, what does it do? We say go to LeoDex and try to do a swap. Put in a Bitcoin to Ethereum swap, and you'll see what the routes are and everything. That is LeoKit. So the way that those routes are being populated and being quoted, that's all that is all LeoKit that's running all of that. And there's some interesting downstream effects that I can get into also. But Mitch, I don't know if you have any thoughts or want to jump in at all.
Well, I mean, obviously there's more and more questions coming in regards to this topic. I also want to make sure, though, because I know you got to jump at 1 Eastern, so we could always circle back to questions if you have any other updates that you wanted to share. So I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to do that. Otherwise, we can continue with Q&A.
Yeah. Let me close out the LeoKit stuff, and then I can quickly go through the other updates that we do questions. So on the LeoKit side of things, the last part I'll mention, I've kind of now given you like the high level of it. The last part I'll mention is that LeoKit is extremely interesting for us because now, especially with the way that coding is changing, we can launch a lot of different applications that all use LeoKit, but have very specific use cases. And I actually think many of you guys listening here, in the Leo ecosystem, you are very much welcome. And I'm probably going to do like a video series where I show you how to do this because it's very easy. And even if you don't know how to code, you could do this. You can literally create any application you desire. Let's say you have an idea for a very specific type of application. Let's just say you want to build like an extremely lion themed, Dex interface, and you don't know how to code. With LeoKit, you can now vibe code a Dex interface that is like lion themed, and then add LeoKit to it and have cross chain swaps. And I think you could probably build it in under 48 hours if you wanted to. And that is like unheard of in the past. So I think LeoKit is this massive moment for us where it's like, it's like an app store moment, right? Like we've created the platform and now people can use it and build anything. So some of the integrators we're talking to, for example, are very specific wallets for one crypto. And they're just literally, they support one crypto and their wallet is just focused on that crypto. And they've told us they want to integrate, cross-chain swaps, but they only want to integrate cross-chain swaps where you can swap that one crypto. So you can either buy the crypto that is their wallet is focused on, or you can sell the crypto into other cryptos that their wallet is focused on. So it's like, how do you create something where you support input and output of just one crypto? And that is what, with LeoKit, we've built the full scale modularity where that integrator, without any extra work from us, can just integrate the API and then tick off every single crypto except for the one that they want to support. And then basically, like, if you want to buy that, let's just, it's not this because I don't want to give away the app, but let's say it's Litecoin, right? Let's say that they want to support the ability to buy Litecoin and sell Litecoin, and that's it. LeoKit allows them to do that, and it allows them to do that entirely from the dashboard. So I'm going to drop a screenshot for you guys because I promised some teasers while we were on here. So let me get a good screenshot for you guys, and then I'll roll into the other updates too. So for example, I was just saying you could tick on and off every asset. Here, you also can tick on and off every chain. So here's a screenshot of Leo, and this is the actual LeoKit dashboard, and it's live. It's live in invite only. So if you want to see it, I can share screenshots with you guys. But if you want actual access to it, we're doing invite only access right now before we push it all live. But it is live. Like, there are actually people using it right now. So I just shared a screenshot of that, and then I'll share another screenshot where you can see that integrators in the dashboard can set their own fees and where their address for collecting the fees that they want to charge. So yeah, all of that is those are some teasers of the dashboard for LeoKit. Again, it's very centered on B2B integrators. So anyone who owns an app or interface or wallet that wants cross-chain swaps, that's what we built this for. So it's not for retail, which is interesting for us because it's the first time we've done that. And I guess very long-winded. Circle back to Dagger's original question. I think LeoKit is going to be the number one source of inflows for the Leo economy. It literally, if you think about it, takes one big integrator to switch over from something that is inferior like SwapKit to LeoKit, and we could have millions, hundreds of millions in trading volume per month from that one integrator. And by the way, then that integrator is responsible for marketing their own swaps, and LeoKit just benefits from that because we're providing the service of the swaps, and then they're selling that service to their users. So it's actually really interesting to think about, how different it is for us from a marketing perspective, because we don't have to actually, like, our marketing is focused on, helping the clients, which are the B2B integrators, and then their marketing is focused on getting actual customers for their swaps. and we just benefit across the whole path. So I think LeoKit's going to be extremely big. Sam Boner said, "What about Dorito Kit besides rugging?" Yeah, I think DKit rugged a little bit. I mean, SwapKit rugged all the Thor holders, which is, I've been a Thor holder for very long time. I mean, it's got to have been like 5 years, 6 years, or something like that since multi-chain ChaosNet. And I was originally extremely excited about SwapKit because it looked like if you held Thor, you were going to benefit massively from this thing that was designed to do exactly what it's doing today. It's powering cross-chain swaps for all the big apps out there, and that got changed. So if you don't know the story, I'm not going to go into it just for time's sake. But basically, it was promised that SwapKit revenue was going to go to Thor holders, and then they completely changed that. So once the revenue started coming in, they were like, actually, no, never mind. So
greed, it'll always win.
Greed will always win in the
end. As I always say, humans are going to human.
Yeah, they will. So with LeoKit, we are doing something very different where 100% of the inflows, very much the same as LeoDex, go straight to the sLEO staking pool. So when you have sLEO, you get to claim the LeoDex affiliate fees, and you also get to claim the LeoKit affiliate fees. So that's how all of that works. And it's 100%. So every swap that gets done by one of these integrators, LeoKit earns 10 basis points, which means every Leo staker earns 10 basis points. So I think that was a lot of LeoKit coverage, but it is the big thing that we're working on right now. It's where really the whole team's focus is on LeoKit, and then working with integrators who are going to start probably in the first week of January. You'll see some of the first integrators that are officially live with cross-chain swaps using LeoKit. So it's an exciting time, and one of the names is so big. I think people would be completely blown away by. I even told the devs that we had this integrator, and it was like, holy shit. So I don't know when that will come. Obviously, the bigger they are, the slower the integration will be, because there's a lot more hoops to jump through on their end. So, but I would say probably in Q1 or Q2, it's going to be crazy. It's someone that has millions of monthly active users. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
So we'll see how everything goes, but I'm very optimistic about it. And we just keep pushing forward. So let me speed run the rest of the updates, and then we can finalize with some questions. We put out a blog post today with the weekly updates, the weekly recap. So I'll just share a little screenshot of that. But the weekly recap is live if you want to go read the full version of what I'm about to say. But LeoKit entered invite-only release in this past week, so that was obviously the big thing we worked on. We're unveiling a new product on December 26th. So that is going to be something exciting. It is a new app from us. And again, this new age of AI and having LeoKit and things like that, we're able to build a lot of really interesting things. So December 26th is actually my birthday, so that's why I chose that day. We'll be unveiling this new product. I think it's going to bring a lot of economic inflows. I'm very excited about it. So look out for that this week. Rafiki is nearing the v2.0 update. So the 2.0 update for Rafiki is the second LLM model. So the way we're building Rafiki, if you look at like how ChatGPT has progressed, right? Like you started with ChatGPT 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and now it's at like 5.2 or whatever. Same thing happened with all the other models. Like Grok is at like 4 point something right now. As these models progress, you come out with a new version, and the LLM improves significantly. So like, the 5.2 model for ChatGPT is very much different than the 1.0 model if you used both, right? Like if you use it today and you did use it when it came out, how different it is. Rafiki is no different. So I think Rafiki actually got a much bigger jump start than a lot of these other AI models because it came out later. So we were able to kind of see a lot of what was out there and make our own improvements. So the 1.0 model of Rafiki, I think, is way better than the 1.0 model of these other models like ChatGPT. The 2.0 model will integrate all premium data. So if you think Rafiki is good now, which I think Rafiki actually is pretty surprisingly good in many ways. He definitely makes mistakes here and there, but overall, I think he's actually like surprisingly good. Like some of the answers he gives, I'm blown away by. The 2.0, the 1.0 model is trained on only 3 accounts. It's trained on my account, the main Leo Finance, account that we post all the updates from, and then it's also trained on the Leo Strategy account, so it knows everything about Leo Strategy products. That's only with 3 accounts. That's the current Rafiki. The 2.0 model is trained on all premium users, so it will add about 100 more accounts into Rafiki's training data, and it's going to be. I mean, it's like I've already played around a little bit. It is like it is a 10x improvement in the answers. You guys are going to be blown away by how good the answers are, and it's kind of easy to see how that happens because you're going from 3 accounts worth of data to over 100. It is a vast improvement. And then so Rafiki 2.0 is on the way. I'm excited to see what you guys think of that. Along with that, after the 2.0 model comes out, we'll start releasing some of the premium only features. So things like Rafiki's own app, things like the Copilot, and then we'll start working on something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is adding Rafiki to Discord. So then Rafiki will be in Leo Discord, or sorry, the Leo Discord. Even I make that mistake sometimes. Rafiki will be in the Leo Discord and helping with tech support and just general questions and things like that. So that'll be really nice for the team. The LeoDex mobile wallet. So I've got some cool updates underway on that. What we're building with the mobile app is kind of a super app. So the goal is, we're actually taking everything that's in the LeoVerse and putting it into one app. So you'll be able to do all the social media stuff from it. You'll be able to do all the LeoDex swaps from it. So it'll be like InLeo plus LeoDex, plus Rafiki. You'll be able to do all the AI stuff from it. And you'll obviously be able to trade all the Leo strategy, RWAs, of managing your wallets and things like that, all in one app. And that app will also have a multi-sig wallet. So that's what we're building. That is kind of the big kind of project blank right now is we're building, this mobile everything app. And I'm excited about it, but we are still probably at least 1 or 2 quarters away from having a beta for you guys. So I haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but that is underway. It is the ultimate everything app. I think it's going to really change the game in terms of like UX across the board. And again, it uses all these same backends, like LeoKit's backend, Rafiki's backend, InLeo's backend. Like all of this stuff just kind of plugs into the app, so it just works. And it's very seamless. And then the final thing is tokenized NVIDIA. So tokenized NVIDIA, I actually sold out this morning on Hive Engine, and then I think there's a little bit left on Base. So as soon as it sells out on Base, I think there's like less than a few hundred. Once it sells out on Base, then the yield will start from Leo Strategy, and it's already tradable on LeoDex. So if you want to buy tokenized NVIDIA on Base, you can go to LeoDex, just search TNVDA, and it will pop up. It's the third RWA from Leo Strategy. Also, what I think is fascinating is Leo Strategy is working on a few big things, but like 2 of the big things that I think are coming next. I know these are the top priority. Is first the new order book virtualizer market maker. So what that essentially will do is take the liquidity from the base pools and it virtualizes it into orders on the Hive Engine order book. So think of it this way: there's a market maker that reads the buy and sell price from base for something like tokenized NVIDIA, for example, and then it puts bids and asks on the Hive Engine order book based on the current quotes coming from base, the Uniswap pools. So what that does is it actually allows you to trade on Hive Engine order books very easily with low slippage, and then you'll actually be trading. You'll be buying and selling with the market maker, and then every time you buy or sell with the market maker is then going to the base blockchain automatically, and it's swapping in or out of the pool based on whatever you bought or sold. So this is going to be a huge leap forward for all Hive Engine tokens, honestly. And I think once this goes live, I think a business model for LeoStrategy, I haven't even talked to them about this, kind of just popped in my head right now. A business model for LeoStrategy could be going to other Hive Engine tokens and saying, hey, we can package this up and do the same thing for you. And then charging some low fee for doing that. And then earning revenue, which they'll then use to buy Leo. So that could be another LeoStrategy revenue stream is, if this model works very well, probably the biggest issue for Hive Engine tokens is a lack of liquidity on the order books. And LeoStrategy's new market maker virtualizes liquidity. So I'll wait for them to post all the details about that, but it's fascinating. Then I think the next big thing from LeoStrategy is the conversion feature on the RWAs. So what we've seen with the RWAs is there's a lot of one-sided trading. So most people just buy and they hold and they earn yield, which is pretty understandable. What I think is really missing and what was noticed by LeoStrategy is the conversion ability. So if you had the ability to convert RWAs at the correlation price, well, now you'd have two-sided trading where these assets would trade in much closer correlation to the RWAs that they track. So for example, Tesla's trading at almost $500 right now, but tokenized Tesla is lagging behind. I think it's like $3.60. So tokenized Tesla should be $5 right now, but it's trading at $3.60 because it's lagging behind Tesla stock. And I think what's been missing is there's no way to actually unwind and close out the arbitrage loop. So if you can't unwind that trade, you can't unwind the tokenized Tesla for $5, then the price of tokenized Tesla will lag until the yield eventually catches it up. And that's already happening. Like you can actually look at the RWAs and you can see that the yield, it slowly catches the RWAs up, but I think it's too slow. So by adding conversions, what you're enabling is you're enabling some people to buy and hold for the big yield, and they can just buy and hold and wait, or they'll have a second option. They can buy and they can convert, and then they can arbitrage the difference of the peg price and the current price of the tokenized RWAs. So, for example, let's say you could buy tokenized Tesla for $3.50. Then you can use the conversion feature from LeoStrategy to convert that one tokenized Tesla into $5 of value, right? So that then you basically get that arbitrage of $1.50. And then if that works, then people will loop that until tokenized Tesla eventually reaches parity, which would be $5. Then let's say Tesla starts trading again, it goes down a little bit, it goes down to 450. Well, now people can then, sell tokenized Tesla down to 450 and use the conversion feature to unwind on that side. And then, let's say Tesla then rips to $600. Now tokenized Tesla is trading at 450. Tesla's at 600. Tokenized Tesla should be at $6. So people then can buy the cheap tokenized Tesla and then convert it until it reaches $6. So pretty interesting. I think the conversion feature is going to really change a lot of things. It's also going to add a lot more profit to LeoStrategy because of the market making. So the more active the markets are, the more profitable LeoStrategy is. So I think that will take hold and take shape probably in the coming. I think they said before the end of the year is the goal. So I mean that gives them like a week left. So we've got two major things from LeoStrategy that are coming in the next week.
TikTok
goes the clock. One thing I promised while we do some questions.
I was about to bring up what you're probably going to say is it's you put it out there in text, so you gotta
on the chain.
Gotta
on the chain.
Give away.
So, all right. So here's what we're gonna do.
I've been looking tell me what your plan is, because I've been looking through all the comments this whole time, and I'm like, all right, like I see one person that's kind of head and shoulders above in terms of their interaction, but there's been a lot of interaction from several people.
Yeah. So the first thing we're gonna do is let's pick 3 people who asked good questions during the AMA. Those people will each split the 50 tokenized NVIDIA. And then I've also got a little bit of tokenized gold, tokenized Tesla, Surge, LSTR, and Leo. And I will give those away to the other people who comment now. So starting this second, comment and say what you're most excited for this holiday season and going into the new year. So just comment what you're most excited about. And I will, for every comment every single person that comments. If you comment 5 times, you're gonna win once. Feel free to comment 5 times if you want. But for each individual person that comments, what you're most excited for this holiday season and at the end of this year, I will send you some of one of those tokens. So it'll be randomized. I'll just pick something at random, and I'll send you one of those tokens. So again, the 50 tokenized video, we'll just pick 3 users who commented the best questions. And then the other ones I will send in random amounts and random, versions to everybody else.
We gotta pick 3, man.
Yeah, we got to pick 3.
You're spreading the love. I was gonna make it boom or bust and be like one big winner. I like
one
it.
big winner. Yeah, let's spread it a little bit.
I heard Scaredy Cat God asked a really good question. I kid. All right, cool.
I asked some good ones at the beginning
hopefully
too.
you have at least one that you want to pick, because I have one. I gotta scroll back through and come up with who else. Everyone else is kind of about the same in terms of questions and fun comments, but I got one who made a lot of good questions, but also made a lot of fun comments and remarks.
All right. So here's what we could do. I'll pick one, then you pick one, and then why don't you and I pick one each, and then the community picks one, and you can't nominate yourself. So
yes.
comment who you want to pick, and we'll just pick whoever gets the most.
I like that. Yes.
All right, we'll start with ours, because then whoever's left is available. So
okay,
Mitch, go ahead with yours.
Hopefully you got someone different, but Dagger 212 was all over this AMA with not only some good questions, but also like some funny comments as well. And the cat likes to be amused. You're here to amuse me. I think you're funny.
I do think he won. I do think he won MVP on this one.
Oh yeah, he crushed it on this one. And then, there's a couple others that are, the next notch below. So I don't know if you had someone in mind besides him. Otherwise, it gets tough.
It is tough. I've got 2 in mind. I'm just looking. I'm trying to pick.
Well, you could just nominate both, and then we don't have to.
I could
wait on the audience. Since we're kind of over time right now, and everyone's still posting about what they're excited about. So if you got 2, I would say go with both of them.
All right, I'll pick both of them. I'm picking Winanda and Sheeb. So,
yep, those were names that I had in the mix.
So for the TMVDA, I'm typing it all so everyone can just see. Then it's firmly on the blockchain forever.
Yes, you don't want to forget.
So it will be Dagger 212 nominated by Mitch.
I think Taskmaster said the best thing ever just now. Scaredy Cat is my pick because, just because. Exactly. The cat doesn't, and the cat doesn't get love for being part of. I should just be in the audience. I can get more love. It's funny. Appreciate it, Task. Exactly. Support the cat.
Support the cat.
Which can't even do that because I might be on my longest streak ever of not posting. It's been like 3 weeks, I think, since I've posted anything. It's been a month. That's all I can say, like in terms of life. So December has just been a month.
Yeah, it is. It's been a year. It's been pretty tough. Yeah, you did win the tokenized video. Yeah.
What do we got? Yep, there you go. Dagger went on the sheet. All right, cool.
So those are for the 50. And then again, if you want some of the other ones, I've just got some kind of like extra tokenized gold and Tesla and Surge, LSTR and Leo. And I'll just kind of send that out a little bit.
50 is a fun number to divide.
I know that'll be fun for me. I actually was planning on doing it 5 ways, and then I just decided we'll do it 3.
A little more substantial. Actually, has a little something.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. With that said, I just got a document that came in that I need to review and sign, so that worked out perfect. And everyone have a Merry Christmas. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. Happy Kwanzaa. Merry Chinooga. All the fun, different things. And I'm down. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm around the 30th, so we can do a end of year blowout episode.
Yeah, let's do it. So next week, join us for an end of year. I'm sure I'll have my 2026 vision posted. So for the Leo ecosystem, so we can kind of break that down and then talk about the best things of 2025 and what's coming in 2026. There's so much stuff we're working on. It's crazy. I saw Zamboner is active in the YouTube and has been commenting a lot and asked where people are commenting other than YouTube. And I mentioned that it's in the Threadcast. So Zamboner, if you have if you've traded Leo Strategy assets at all and have a base wallet, comment your base address and I'll send you something on base because you weren't active on the InLeo Threadcast because you probably haven't heard of it before. But I will send you something on base and then maybe sign up for InLeo as a return the favor a little bit. And then yeah, thanks Mitch for doing this. Merry Christmas, everybody, and have a good holiday. And we'll see you before the new year begins.
No doubt. Take care, everyone.
Peace.